On Archive of Our Own, there are several different fan fictions, and I've been a proponent of adding to that as a blooming author myself. I am Jordan Yuki Trelawney on Facebook. I am Jordan Tealman at Jordan Tealman on the Twitter. And I am also known on Twitch and on Archive as Roseblood93. I created the Clexa fanfic, which if you don't know what Clexa is, that is Clarke plus Lexa equals Clexa. And that is from the show The 100. I have created a fanfiction titled Only You. It is an alternate universe fanfiction. And there was a demand for it. Not really like a demand of it. It was more of a growing intrigue on this fanfiction, and it is almost at 5,000 hits right now. So I am starting to read off my fanfiction as an audiobook, and I'm using this, my Trelawney Productions YouTube, as the source for the audiobook. I will be linking the prose style, the writings, into the YouTube, and I will also be writing in the fanfiction where they can find, where you guys, the fans, can find the audiobook version. All right. Let's get into it. This originally was published on September 15th, 2016. Only You, AU Clexa Fanfic by Roseblood93. Read by the author, Roseblood93. Summary. This is an alternate universe fanfiction. After the death of her boyfriend, Finn Collins, Clarke has to return back to work at the Arcadia Hospital in the middle of Tawn, DC. Meanwhile, Lexa, a brand new detective for the Tawn DC PD, finds herself and her partner Anya in the middle of a gang war between Tree Crew and Asketa. When Lexa gets shot, Clarke's worst nightmare comes true and is forced back into Lexa's life, where tensions couldn't be any higher. Will they find love? What's next? Find out more in Only You. Notes. The poets say, never love the moon and stars. They breathe life into you, lighting your way when it's most dark, but they also shine for others. One can never expect them to admire you back, and that's just fine, because at least it's a piece of them that illuminates just for you. They use themselves up so that others can shine even in their own darkest hours. I know. Now. I was her son. Our universe finally collided at long last, and I loved her. All of her. I didn't love her for her beauty or status. Rather, for the way the sound of her voice silenced the war in my mind with just a breath. She's in my veins. And in her arms, I swear to God I lived. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Only You, Clexa AU Fanfic by Roseblood93/Jordan Tealman Trelawney. Read by Roseblood93/Jordan Tealman Trelawney. Chapter 1. Lexa. The pink glove lay on the ground, almost covered. Light circulated around the familiar red and blues atop the 4 squad cars and an ambulance. Their doors were open. They were parked on a somewhat barren street corner by the rusty train tracks, open to the entire city and its vastness. Across from them, onlookers from the local bar gaped in horror at the violence that remained from the momentary firefight. Jackson, a tall, lanky man with short, dark hair, quickly slid a fresh glove on his hand, applying compresses on a gorgeous young woman with a jawline for days. Her translucent silver-green eyes glazed over, but her pupils responded to the beam at the end of the pen flashlight another EMT was shining in them. She lay unconscious, shallowly wheezing, gurgling on the black blood flowing out of her mouth. Her body contorted, seizing violently. The other woman, a little older than the first, reached out to the unresponsive one. She thrashed against the EMT, blood oozing from the hole in her side and her thigh. "Lexa!" she cried out, stretching her trembling hand out to her partner. "Get the fuck off of me! Save her first, please!" She flung herself upward. Lexa faded into a stillness. 2 more EMTs rushed to the responsive woman, laying her back down. She craned her neck toward Lexa, who appeared to stop breathing. Jackson began compresses on her. The responsive woman flung her hand over top of her eyes. Oh my God. She glanced back over toward Lexa. If she dies, I'll kill him. I'll kill him, goddammit! 2 rounds cut through Lexa's upper arm and shin. An EMT, helping Jackson, harshly tied a tourniquet around the limbs. A 3rd round dug into her center mass, just above her abdomen. Jackson patted her at the face, attempting to wake her back into consciousness. Lexa was still void of the waking world, so he traded positions with another EMT who quickly shoved his hands on her abdomen, attempting to staunch the bleeding. We need to get her to Arcadia. Stat, he ordered. The 2 holding down Lexa's partner left the 3rd EMT to work on tying the tourniquet above the hole and a patch to her side. They scuttled to the ambulance, fumbling around, then quickly pulled out a yellow gurney. What happened? Jackson asked the woman, trying to keep her talking. She had long, dirty blonde hair. She was Asian, wearing a button-down shirt with black slacks slathered in the sticky plasma. Tree crew drive by, she grunted. Their leader, we've had our eyes on for a while. Titus did the honors. Good, that's good. Keep talking to me. The more we know, the more we can help. Jackson smiled to reassure the bleeding. We called it into your chief. Kane should be here soon. Jackson regarded Lexa's partner. The responsive woman nodded slightly. Her movements became lethargic, yet she continued trembling. Jackson, she's crashing! An EMT cried out. We need to move her, now! Jackson grabbed the defibrillator on the ground, handing it off to his partner. The partner set down the defibrillator, flipping a switch to turn it on. He ripped open Lexa's button-down shirt, popping the buttons off. He pushed the handled electrodes on her skin, one on her collarbone, the other on her side. They bubbled up around the ends like a muffin top. The EMT shocked Lexa's nervous system once. No reaction. Lexa's partner gritted her teeth, witnessing the men at work. He shocked her again. Still no response. Stay hush, Lexa, her partner muttered. You gon' play nasty one. They hit her with another shock. She still didn't respond. Jackson took over, pumping her chest, while the other held compressions on her wound. Hedda, gay smackdown guy on another time, Lexa's partner screeched. Jackson and his partner cleared their hands, and they zapped her once more. Lexa began to gurgle, spewing her life force, choking her airway. Jackson heavily sighed, his face relaxing once more. He glanced over to the woman. Anya, I know you want to be with her, but if we don't move her now, go! Get my partner the hell out of here! Anya barked like an order she'd give a badge in blue. Sirens rang out in the distance, and Anya closed her eyes. Keep her safe. She glanced at the black puddle left behind from her partner, cringing while watching her limp body crash into the hard plastic gurney. She flinched, starry-eyed, noting Jackson slammed the back of the ambulance door, patting it before they took off from 0 to 60. Sirens wailed away from her, and Anya's brow furrowed, helpless to protect the girl she taught since she was a badge in blue at the Tondi CPD. Keep her safe. Clarke fumbled around with the letter she'd been dreading to read for 2 weeks since Finn's passing. She knew the contents, especially since the guy who had been chasing her for years wrote it. But she held her breath and flipped the envelope over. She slid her finger underneath the lip, tearing away the top. Bellamy never cared much for Finn, making bad joke after bad joke, especially whenever he hung out with Murphy. There was nothing she could do. Finn was gone, and she couldn't focus on anything else. Clarke didn't really love Finn, merely used him as a placeholder to cleanse her broken heart. She cared about him, but always guarded herself. He was steadily available, passively cute, so she went in for the kill. After Wells passed and she broke her heart, Clarke truly believed that she would finally find solace. That, for once in her damn life, someone would stay. That anyone could stay. She realized just how wrong she was, being handed that folded flag with his dog tags laid atop. I am become death, destroyer of worlds, she muttered under her breath, slowly exhaling, shaking her head. Oppenheimer spoke to her soul. She held her breath as she glanced down at the contents of the letter. See, I miss you. It's been far too long since we last talked. I haven't been able to tell you where I am, but I'm alive and well. My CO has been riding my ass. Captain Pike is like, Bellamy, run your PT here and back to the camp 5 times. Griffin, that's a 4-mile radius. I feel like I'm dying. Speaking of dying, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to Finn's funeral. Couldn't get the shore leave. After Murphy and I saw him blown all to hell, well, we didn't think there was much left to scrape off the ground. Sorry, it was pretty insensitive, seeing as he was your boyfriend and all. Still, though, I'm sorry about that. Really. Make sure you're taking care of Ray and O for me, okay? She went and joined the Tondi CPD against my better judgment, but she's a grown girl. Lincoln is livid over here. He hates that he can't play doctor and save her whenever she gets her ass kicked. Oh, get that mechanic's ass in line too. She better not have a scratch on my baby. I don't want to come back and see my ride is in pieces again. I mean, she's used to repairing all the squad vehicles, especially after getting shot on duty, but still, Raven needs to learn not to touch a man's car. She claims she made it run more efficient, but I liked it the way it was. I worry about her, but don't tell her that one. She's also a bad influence on O getting into the PD. I don't want Octavia to get killed out there, especially with this damn gang war going on at home. We should be there with you on the front lines, not over here fighting a damn war with mindless drones. Oh, I'm coming home in a month. Thought I should let you know that. Gotta wrap this up. Pike is writing my ass about being a widow snatcher, writing to you instead of my own girlfriend. Right. All my love. Bells. Nice. Clarke stuffed the piece of notebook paper in the pocket of her blue scrubs after reading its contents. She patted it with a grimace, shaking her head. She refocused on the hot coffee in her hand, taking that first mouth-watering sip. Her chin inverted into her throat, frowning, then stuck out her tongue from the bitterness of the toxic waste of the free machine. Terrible, she groaned, picking grounds out of her teeth. The walls of the hall were bleak, with a blue stripe rolling down the sides of Arcadia Hospital in the center of Tondisi. Clarke had long blonde hair rolled up in a messy bun. She threw back the rest of the motor oil in her paper cup, tossing it in the recycle bin. A few fellow residents whizzed by her, their hips vibrating from the black text boxes on their persons. Her head traveled with their momentum, practically running toward the ER entrance. Clarke's pager lit up, violently vibrating her hip. She glanced downward, staring at the code illuminating on the screen. Her mouth gaped ajar. She quickly looked up, feeling her pulse pound against her forehead. Chief Griffin, an older woman in her late 40s, turned a corner, then charged toward Clarke. Look alive, Griffin, she called out. We've 2 ER patients coming in. Estimated time 5 minutes. Nyko is prepping the OR. Scrub in. She threw Clarke a head cover. Clarke caught it, glaring at it in her hands. She looked back up to the woman. Mom, what have we got? 2 officers down. Get ready. Abby stood in front of her daughter with a proud, smug grin. Clarke sucked in a deep breath. Her palms began to sweat while her eyes glazed over with mist. Clarke shook her head, staring back up at her mom. I don't think I'm ready yet, she croaked. Well, you better be. You need to get your head together. I know you're worried about your friend Bellamy Blake, especially after losing Finn, but Clarke, she cleared her throat, we need you. We aren't losing another of our own to this damn gang war. Now go scrub in. I'm not asking. Abby gripped Clarke by the shoulders, lightly shaking her. Clarke stared at the ground for a moment. Clarke? I'm fine. I'm okay, Mom. Clarke nodded, snapping back into reality. Abby cocked her head to the side, studying her daughter's features. It's fine. I'm on my way. Before Abby could get another word in, Clarke spun on her heel, quickly dashing down the hallway. She passed doctors talking outside the break room and patients heading toward the elevator for a CAT scan. Clarke turned another corner, walking straight into the prep room of the OR. She fastened her head cover, covering all stray strands, tying it below her bun. She then walked over toward the sink basin, scrubbing her fingers and under the nail beds before Nyko helped her into a disposable surgical gown. He was a big burly man with a long beard and an intimidating tribal face tattoo. Blue arrows swirled around his eyes, ending at his cheekbones. He had a covering on his whiskers, which always made Clarke chuckle. Nyko's ridiculous but necessary coverings always helped calm her nerves. Clarke took a deep breath. She grabbed a face mask, lacing it over her ears, but kept it at her chin. She then slid on gloves. What have we got? Clarke questioned. 2 officers down. 1, 29, Asian, female. 2 gunshot wounds. 1 to the thigh and a graze to the side above her hip bone. She's stable. Nyko read off the chart Jackson sent over with his iPad. And the other? Clarke asked, breathing shallowly. The first officer sounded familiar. She wished it wasn't who she thought it was. The one that got away, that broke her heart, was recently appointed a detective partner to her mentor. This woman sounded exactly like Anya. Clarke silently whispered a plea that the second victim was anyone but her. She clasped her eyes, muttering. She opened them again as Nyko continued. Female, around 22, Caucasian, nightblood, 3 gunshot wounds, 1 to the shin, 1 to the upper arm, and 1 to the gut and the soft tissue below her breastbone. Shrapnel could have hit the heart. Resurrection was applied on the scene until stable enough to be moved. She's in critical condition. Nyko glanced up at Clarke, frozen in sweat. Nyko's surprised, wide eyes met Clarke's very own. Please, don't tell me. Clarke's mind raced wildly. Flashes of her warm smile chilled her cold interior. Clarke's fist clenched. Another flash of her childlike laugh rang through her cranium as she gently called out her name. Clarke clenched her teeth together harshly. Another flash of her long fingers loosely intertwined with hers, with her cool, moist lip pressed against Clarke's, illuminated in the 3-dimensional IMAX of her mind. Clarke shook her head to clear the haunting. The gurney crashed through the doors. The girl's shirt lay in tatters, loosely covering her breasts. A clear mask covered her mouth while Jackson squeezed the plastic container full of air. It inflated with his loosened grip. Shouting rang throughout the OR, demanding orders to lift the girl off the gurney to the table. The doors slammed shut behind him. Can't be. Nyko's eyes widened. Clarke swam in her living nightmare. Her pleas fell on deaf ears. It's Lexa! And so that ends chapter 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is just a sample. I'm going to be reading more of these in audiobook version. So let me know what you think. Thoughts, comments, go. Make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a like if you do. And I also am going to put this out there as well, since this is the very first chapter that I have read. Anybody that wants to do any fan art of their favorite moment from this fan fiction, go ahead and draw something. I mean, that would be like really, really freaking awesome. And in that case, it would be something that could be like chapter 10 or something, you know, with Clarke and Lexa together, or chapter 1 with the fear and everything, or it all depends. It's up to your creative license on what you would like to draw. Just draw your favorite Clexa moment from this fanfiction. And if there's more than one submission, I will be interchanging everything out. I will probably take this video down and revamp it or reread the first one, as this is just a teaser for the entire thing. So yeah, I'm going to reread the entire thing. I'm just rambling right now. But once that happens, I just want to see what your thoughts, comments are and everything. And, oh, one more thing. I am almost done with the fanfiction completely. It's going to have 17 chapters. It's winding to a close. I'm writing chapter 11 right now as we speak. Well, not really as we speak, because I'm still recording this. Shh, don't tell anybody. But hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I hope all the best wishes and such, and I'll leave you to it. Again, this is Only You, AU, Clexa Fan Fiction by Roseblood93, which is me, also known as Jordan Yuki Trelawney on Facebook. On the Twitter, I am at Jordan Tealman. And go ahead and give me a like, give me a follow, whatever you would like to do. And I'm just rambling now. I ramble. All right. So I will catch all of you on the flip side. Peace out. Roseblood out.